How are you guys doing? Today is Sunday, April 25th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to do an elite individual profile on Raphae Varane, who is the starting center back for the French national team who won the most recent World Cup. And he's the starting center back for Real Madrid and has been so for about the last decade, and was one of the most instrumental part in what was one of the most dominant Champions League, or just one of the most dominant soccer runs in all of soccer, with all the teams that he's been on and all the teams that he's won. I think most people around the world of soccer are very aware of Raphae Varane's impact. But I think considering he's a player that's this good, that rarely gets talked about for how good he is, I truly believe he is the world's most underrated center back. And with this profile, I'm just going to give a little bit of background into what makes Raphae Varane one of the world's best players right now leading up to today, which is his 28th birthday. So just to give a little bit of background, like I said, he's from France. He's from Lille. He would eventually come up and get promoted to playing senior football in his 2010-2011 season. He played for Lens, which is a team in France. And in the first season that he would play, Lens would finish with the 19th best record in Ligue 1. But of course, in that season, Raphae Varane would end up playing 23 matches, and in the 23 matches he would play, they would only concede 27 games, and of course he was a big part of that. Considering they were the worst team in the league, I guess he was one of the few shining stars on this team. And following his one senior season at Lens, Real Madrid decided to take a risk, and they decided to scoop him up and add him to their lineup for the 2011-2012 season. In the 2011-2012 season, which would be Raphae Varane's age 18 season, he would end up playing only 9 games in La Liga, which of course makes sense when you're considering how good Real Madrid is. He would only help Real Madrid concede. They would only concede 6 goals in the 9 games that he played. And then he also played in Champions League, where they allowed 3 goals in 4 seasons. In 2011-2012, in his very first season, Real Madrid would actually win La Liga. This is the second season where Cristiano Ronaldo would lead the team in scoring, as they would go on to lose in the quarterfinals of the Copa del Rey, the semifinals in Champions League. But of course, Varane was a big part of that. This would transition into his second season at Real in 2012-2013, where he would help Real Madrid finish with the second best record in La Liga. And compared to last season, where he played 9 games in La Liga, he would play 15. As he would see his workload increase, they would finish with 5 clean sheets in the 15 games that he played in La Liga, not to mention the 11 goals that they conceded. They didn't have their best defensive season in the Champions League, but of course they would make it far. And in Raphae Varane's second season, the only trophy that they would win would be the Supercopa de España, which is a very big trophy that they did win, as they would finish runners-up in La Liga, in the Copa del Rey, and they lost in the semifinals in Champions League. But following that, he already had 2 trophies in his case in his very first 2 seasons with Real Madrid. And as the seasons go on, you start to see his impact start to grow. In his third season with Real Madrid in 2013 and 2014, first of all, going into the season, Raphae Varane at 20 years old would get named he would effectively get called up to the national team, and he represented the country in the World Cup following this season. But right now, within this 2013-14 season, he would start 12 of the 14 matches that he would play in La Liga, in a season where Real Madrid would finish third in the entire league, but they would win the Copa del Rey for the first time since he'd been there, and they had won the Champions League for the first time he had been there. So at that point, they had won every trophy that they could as a club in Raphae Varane's first 3 seasons there. And then looking at that, what his impact was this season, he would help them allow, or they would concede 13 goals in the 14 matches he played in La Liga, as they finished with 5 clean sheets for the second year in a row. He had 5 clean sheets in his second year in a row as the center back. And of course, knowing Real Madrid, he had to play with Sergio Ramos because he wasn't starting over Ramos. In the Champions League, he would play 7 matches and only help them. They would only concede 4 goals, as he would pick up his first, as he was awarded his very first Champions League title. And after being recognized as one of the vital players on this Champions League team, he would effectively get called up for France's World Cup in Brazil. And in this performance, he would play 5 matchups, and then they would end up conceding 3 goals all tournament. And this was right before they lost in the quarterfinal of this World Cup to Germany, the eventual champs. But of course, Raphae Varane making his presence felt as he was starting to enter the part of his career where he became a full-time starter and a very reliable player. Because once he made the start for France at the World Cup, and many people saw that he was a very formidable defensive player, that's when he really started entering the next level of being like one of the top players. This would transition into his age 21 season. In his third season at Real Madrid, he would start 21 of the 27 games in a season where Real Madrid would finish runners-up in La Liga. And the trophies that they would go on to win the UEFA Super Cup after winning Champions League. They won the FIFA Club World Cup after winning the UEFA Super Cup. And they would finish up runners-up in the Supercopa de España, as the FIFA Club World Cup and the UEFA Super Cup were the only trophies they were able to win this year as a team. But within Raphae Varane's increased output, the Real Madrid would concede 20 goals in the 27 matches that he played, as they finished with 10 clean sheets, the most clean sheets under his belt. In the Champions League, they would end up losing in the semifinals of Champions League, which is the only time between 2014 and 2018 in which they didn't win. But regardless, with increased output, you see Raphae Varane helping the team they only conceded 8 goals in the 12 matches that they played, as they had clean sheets in 7 of the 12 of them. And of course, Varane was very instrumental in all that. But following this season, Real Madrid would jump right back into the Champions League. They would jump right into their three-peat. And this would transition into his 2015-2016 season, which was his age 22 season, where he would start 23 of the 26 games for Real Madrid in a season when they would finish runner-up for the second year in a row and the third time in 4 years. And the only trophy that they were able to take home was Champions League, which was a very big trophy for them to win, as of course Cristiano Ronaldo had yet another sensational season. Within the 2015-16 season for Real Madrid, Raphae Varane would help them. They would concede 22 goals in 26 matchups. This would be yet another season where he allowed less goals than match played while playing center defense. He's done so once he made it to Real, they had done it virtually every year, and they finished with 11 clean sheets, the most clean sheets he's had in a season. And he would participate in 7 of the matches played in Champions League, as they would not allow a single goal in all of them, as he had 6 total clean sheets in the Champions League, as they would go on and virtually dominate the competition and pull away with the 2016 Champions League, which would be the second time Varane had won the trophy. And this would lead into the 2016-17 season, which would be Varane's 23rd, his age 23 season and his 6th season with Real. He would start all 23 games in La Liga that season, in a season where Real would actually win They would win La Liga for the second time since Varane had got there. They would win the Super Cup and the FIFA Club World Cup, coming off of last year's Champions League win. And then they would win Champions League for the second year in a row and the third time in 4 years, which is a feat that's rarely ever been done. Bayern Munich, as dominant as they were, they couldn't even do it this year. But of course, in this season, Varane would see he would see Even though his matches would remain about the same, the numbers would say about the same in terms of goals conceded. The team would concede 18 goals in the 23 matches that Varane played, as he picked up 8 clean sheets as a center defensive back. And then in Champions League, he would play in 10 matches, as the team would allow 14 goals and only pick up 1 clean sheet. But this is the season where Real Madrid was severely outscoring all the teams that they played, and it didn't really matter in the end, as they picked up their 3rd Champions League, and of course Varane was playing for almost all of those games. And then this would transition into the last, I would say, glory year for Real Madrid, or at least in terms of continental success. In 2017-18, Raphael Varane, in his age 24 season, would start all 27 games in a La Liga season where Real Madrid would finish with the 3rd best record. But they would lose in the quarterfinals for Copa del Rey. But coming off of their last Champions League win, they would win the UEFA Super Cup and the FIFA Club World Cup. In the 2017-18 season, they would go on to win the Supercopa de España, which would be the 2nd time that Varane had won that trophy. And then they would go on to win Champions League for the 3rd year in a row and the 4th time in 5 years. And within their games this season in La Liga, they would allow 25 goals in the 27 matches that they played, as they picked up 7 clean sheets. Not the best defensive season compared to prior years. In Champions League, Varane would help Real allow only 11 goals in 11 matches played, as they picked up 2 clean sheets. And following the 2018 Champions League final win, he would get called up and play every single minute for France in the 2018 World Cup, where France would eventually go all the way to the final, and then they would beat Croatia, as of course they were led by Mandzukic, Griezmann, Pogba, and Mbappe, as they picked up one of the biggest World Cup win, or as they picked up an incredible World Cup win. And then to add another trophy into Raphael Varane's trophy case, because he was playing virtually every minute for Real Madrid, and he actually played every minute for France. I think he might have been the only player that played every minute of every game. I might not be completely sure on that, but Varane was one of the marks of consistency within that France locker room, and one of the reasons why France did a really good job of keeping their opponents from scoring. In the World Cup himself, the team in all the games that he played, they played 7 games. They would allow 5 goals in all of the tournament, as they picked up 4 clean sheets, and Raphael Varane actually scored a goal for himself. His goal would come in the quarterfinal game against Uruguay. It was the first goal of the game, and with this, of course, Raphael Varane would add probably his favorite trophy to his trophy case, the trophy that probably means, or I guess the fact that he can put it right next to his Champions League win for 2018. Following this amazing year, this would transition into his age 25 season in 2018-2019, in which he started 31 of the 32 games in a La Liga season, where Real Madrid would finish with the 3rd best record in La Liga for the 2nd year in a row. The only trophy that they would win this year would be the FIFA Club World Cup, as they actually would go on to lose the UEFA Super Cup in their first year without Ronaldo. This would be right after Ronaldo left Real Madrid to go play at Juventus. And in this season, in the 2018-2019 season in La Liga, Real Madrid would allow 32 goals in the 32 matches that Varane played, as they picked up 9 clean sheets, the only season thus far where he allowed as many goals as matches played. He also scored 2 goals in La Liga, which is a lot of goals for a defensive player to put up. In Champions League, he would allow 5 goals in 4 matches played, as Real Madrid would eventually get bounced out in the round of 16 this year. Just following that, they would still put on an incredible season. And this would, and after their FIFA Club World Cup win, that'll be the only trophy that they picked up. But this would transition into this most recent full season of 2019-2020, which was heavily impacted by COVID. It stopped their season towards the very end, but they would still go on to finish the season. And in the last full season that he played with Real Madrid, he would start all 32 games that he would play in a season where Real would actually win La Liga for the 3rd time since he had been there. including all the years that he's won Champions League. He still won Champions League more than he's won La Liga. But also in this season, they will go within La Liga itself. He will go on to help the team allow only 20 goals in 32 matches played, as he picked up 16 clean sheets in what would probably go down as Real Madrid's best defensive season, at least since he's been there. In Champions League, he would play all 8 games, as they would allow 11 goals, and they would pick up 2 clean sheets, as they would get bounced out in the round of 16 in Champions League again. But they would go on to win the Supercopa de España to give them 2 trophies for the 2019-2020 year, which is yet another trophy that goes into the trophy case of Raphael Varane. And Varane was very big, or he had a very big presence in those seasons. He also picked up his most goals in a La Liga season, as he scored 3 goals in last season from a defensive spot, which is, of course, incredibly tough. And following this most recent La Liga title season, this leads us to where we are now. As in this current 2020-21 season, Raphael Varane in La Liga has started all 29 games he's played in a season at the moment where Real Madrid is currently holding the second best record in the league, as they sit 2 points below Atletico Madrid with 1 more game played, and they also sit 3 points ahead of third place Barcelona following their draw yesterday to Real Betis in a game that they know they should have won. But regardless, in this current season in La Liga, Raphael Varane is helping the team, or I guess in the 29 games that he's played, Real Madrid has conceded 22 goals, and right now they're keeping up 13 clean sheets, as they're trying to replicate their defensive success that they were able to see last season, as they already allowed more goals than last season. And in Champions League, right now, Raphael Varane has started 8 matchups, and Real Madrid is still currently in the tournament, as they have yet to start their semifinal round against Chelsea. Thus far in the tournament, Real Madrid has conceded 10 goals in the 8 matches that Varane has played in. They have 3 clean sheets, and right now, looking at up until their next game, that's what Varane's next matchup is going to be. It's going to be on Tuesday, April 27th at 3:00, as Real Madrid actually will host Chelsea after what's been an incredible run through the title. And right now, I think and if you ever get a chance to watch that game, I will get a chance to check out Raphael Varane. He's currently wearing number 5, and based off what I said, he was a player that got on Real Madrid as a very, very young player, and he would see his numbers and his minutes gradually increase. Same with the French national team, up until the point where he has built himself up into one of the most consistent defensive backs. And considering how amazing the French national team and the Real Madrid soccer clubs are, considering the fact that he plays roughly every game for both those teams, and they choose to keep him in the lineup every single time, and they continue to win, should show the impact that Raphael Varane shows every game in, game out. But with that said, I want to thank everyone for listening to all 18 minutes of this piece. I hope all is well. I want to wish Raphael Varane a happy 28th birthday, and like I said, if you ever get a chance, check him out. He wears number 5 for Real Madrid, and last time I checked, he wears number 4 for the French national team. And hopefully, as his career continues on, I will have more to say. Hopefully he'll have more accolades and achievements as it goes on, because considering he's turning 28 today, his career is very far from over, and we very well could be in store for him jumping up to another level. With that said, once again, thanks for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and I will catch you tomorrow, Monday, April 26th, once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done. Once again, thanks for listening to my piece, and peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.